Now we will talk about the brush tool, and it's different than the pencil tool because it works as if you're painting a fill. So I've got the brush tool here. I can paint with it like this, and after the fact, after I paint, I can select what I've created and then use the smooth modifier or a straighten modifier. I've actually got both options open here. I can also affect the brush shape right here in the properties. There's different brush shapes, different brush size. I can change that. And there is a default smooth on. If I want no smoothing, if I want it to be just exactly the way I draw it and no better, I can go to 0, and it's kind of ugly. But of course, if I want it to be really, well, nicer, I can put the smooth up higher, and I can select it and then use the smooth modifier. Now eventually what it does is it gets rid of points in between points, and so eventually you'll start to distort it maybe more than you want. That's kind of probably as good as I'm going to get. And then I could, with the white arrow, go in here and turn that more into a curve and get a shape like that. Okay. Now I want to go over the eraser as well. The eraser tool has some different modifiers. This is the standard eraser. You just drag and it erases. Okay. But if you are working with some shapes that have fills, the eraser at first in standard mode will just erase across like that. But you'll notice that the way that it did the strokes is because the strokes behave differently than fills. Of course, if you don't want that to happen, again, you select both the stroke and the fill, and as we did before, do shape, convert lines to fills, and then the stroke becomes a fill as well, and then they erase together, and they don't do what they did before. But with the eraser, you have some modes down here. The first one is erase normal. The second one is erase fills. And that way when I can just drag across and I know it's going to erase only the fills. Now in that case it erased a stroke because I converted my stroke to a fill. But if I go like this, the stroke stays intact because I now have the eraser mode of fills only. Or I could erase lines, or strokes rather. This time when I go across, it only erases the stroke. Okay, and then there's erase selected fills. If you want to just select a fill and you want to go crazy with the eraser, or I can hold down the shift key and select these two fills here, and then if I get the eraser, it's only going to erase, even if I go crazy, it's only going to erase those fills that I selected. And then also, let me deselect those. Also, I can erase inside, and that means that only inside, and that means if I start the eraser within a shape, it will erase inside where I began. If I start it inside a stroke, it won't. But if I start it inside this converted stroke, it only erases in there. So wherever you start, it will erase inside only that.